Terry Kessler Schwarz, a teaching artist. Welcome to ArtsWestchester's virtual art workshops. Today we are going to use colored pencils to create a botanical drawing. The materials that you'll need will be paper. You could use white construction paper, you could use white copy paper, or drawing paper. Drawing paper from a pad, any size that you would like to use. We also would need pencil sharpener, a hand pencil sharpener, or an electric pencil sharpener, whatever you have. Colored pencils, and I have about 13 colors here. A paintbrush, if you have one. An eraser, either a white eraser, kneaded eraser, plastic, whatever you have, Kleenex, Scotch tape, and a ballpoint pen. I also have another tool that I sometimes use called a tortillon. It's for shading, for blending, if you have that. If not, we're going to use the Kleenex. Okay, so to get started, we need just a plain piece of copy paper on a surface, on a smooth surface, and we're going to start with just one short exercise. I have here a color wheel that I made with the 12 colors that I'm going to be using today. If you don't have as many colors, don't worry about it, but try to make sure that you have at least the 3 primary colors, which are yellow, a pinky red, which is called magenta, and a bright blue. This is a nicer color than a tomato red to mix colors. It's easier in colored pencils to use that. We're just going to do a short exercise, as I said, and we're going to hold our pencil like you were going to write something, and we're going to try to make the shading. And I'm going over it and over it with little circles until you get, and then extend it until you get to the middle. I'm going to do lines, and then I'm going to do circles. And you'll see that it gets more even with the shading if you do the circling over it. Colored pencil drawing is a matter of just layering the marks that you make carefully. And it's also about pressure. If you put more pressure when you're drawing, you'll see it gets darker, and of course lighter pressure, you can see it gets a lot lighter. So I'm going to do this quickly so you see, and I'm going to use another color, which is another primary, the red here, and I'm going to start from this side and do the same thing. You can fill in. I just drew a shape, any shape. You can draw a shape with a pencil if you have one on hand. I drew a rectangle here, as you can see. And do the little circles. See my hand, it's moving in a circular motion. And then keep on going. So try to make it as even as you can. It's called gradation, from dark to light. Because we're going to use this when we draw our botanical. And just try to come to the center. And the colors will overlap. Just try to get as light as you can. And you'll see that you'll get a secondary color. And this one has to be filled in a little bit more. And you can use it on its side a little bit. You can experiment. Colored pencils is all about experimentation too. So there's a secondary color that's coming when I layer it over the red. So it's always a lot of layers. And you can see what color is coming out. It's purple. You could do this combination with blue and yellow, or yellow and the magenta color, and you'll see what happens. So the primaries here are yellow, the magenta color, and this true blue color right here. And purple is the mixture between the blue and the red, which is right here. So that's what we've done. The next thing we're going to do we're going to look at photographs that I've taken of flowers outside. You can draw from real life, but it's always nice to have some photographs if the weather is bad and you want to draw and you can't go out and collect things. So I've taken some photographs of petunias. This is hibiscus and this is black-eyed Susan. And I decided to just use one flower from each of these photographs. And you can copy them as well as you can. I've already sketched it out a little bit here in advance so that you can see the shapes. So I decided to take the hibiscus and I outlined it with this magenta colored pencil. I like to use colored pencils to outline a shape, and it doesn't have to look exactly like what you have in your photograph. Just try to get the outline as best as you can of the shape. So it's really a circle just with a little bit of ridges going on here. I don't like to use a regular pencil when I outline because once you start coloring with the colored pencils, the lead mixes with it and makes it gray. So keep it clean and just use the colored pencils. Then I used a yellow and I drew this Lazy Susan that's up here, over here. And then this petunia down here, I used a blue pencil here to just outline very, very lightly, and then to draw some leaves that I saw here. And then I did two more flowers here, which are here, this one, and then this one. So it's just a very simple composition. I'm doing it on 11 by 14 paper, but you can do it on any size. But when you have your paper, please have a pad under it, something, or some sheets of copy paper under it here so that it's protected. It's a smooth surface underneath because the color pencils react with whatever you're using underneath. The texture comes through. So we're going to start with the first one, with the hibiscus, and we're going to start with the darks. I always like to put in where I see the darks first. So I see some darks in here. And I'm just going to put in some light, just light color. And then I see the red, so I'm using a red here. Red-orange color. And you can see I'm doing it pretty quickly. I'm just going to lay in the color first. But I like to start with the darks first. I'm just laying it in. And we're going to get a little bit darker here on the edges, so I'm going to lay it in. And you can see now I'm going into the circle motion that I did before with that example I showed you, that little exercise. And just wherever you see darks, I see darks here, and I see darks here. So a very circular motion. So it's just a process of layering, constant layering, and looking and observing and having fun looking at the flowers. It's summer, going to be summer soon, so you can go outside and take wonderful pictures. Okay, I see some yellow here, so I'm just going to quickly put in where I see that yellow, and I'm doing that circular motion, and I'm bearing down kind of hard because this looks like it's very bright, so I want to see. And the same thing with these circles here, these little, and there's some lines. So when you go outside to look at the flowers, I'm going to use some lighter orange up here now. I'm going now to the lighter up here. When you go outside, try to find beautiful colors. Whatever excites you is something that you're going to want to draw. And maybe patterns, leaves with patterns on them are fun. Whatever textures you see. So I'm layering right now. And you can see once I start layering, these shapes in here start getting a little bit darker. Now maybe I want to dull this down inside those blues. So I'm going to be using here's the color wheel. I'm going to be using the opposite color of this orange. So I'll be using a green to dull it down a little bit right here. And we can make our own grays, because as you see in all these pencils that I have here, I do not have a black, gray, or brown, because we can make those using the opposite color from your primary. It's called complementary colors. So I'm just dulling it down. And that circular motion again. And if you want the colors to blend a little bit more, you can always use a tissue and rub it like this, and it will just blend beautifully. So I'm looking to see where the highlights are. Highlight, what is it? It's where the light is coming. So the light's coming from this side here. So there's light here. So we're going to keep that kind of light, but we're going to make these edges a bit darker. I'm going to add a little bit of blue to it to make it a little bit purple, because you can see that it's a little bit dark there. Okay, let's start on another flower. It's always good to kind of move around. And this looks like it's more of a purpley color. So I'm going to start with the darks again, and I'm going to put a little bit of pressure here. And I'm going to use a little bit of this pinky color, which is this color right here on the color wheel. And I see that there's a pattern on this flower. So the wonderful thing about doing botanicals is that you can really observe and appreciate, look closely at a flower. And if you want, I did a medley of flowers. I did more than one, but you know, if you just want to draw one flower and make it as big as your paper, go right ahead. I'm going to start with the leaves, and I'm going to leave a little bit of white for the pattern on the leaf, and layer it because the light's going to hit it. So the light's coming over here. I'm putting a little bit of yellow over it. Just have fun trying to layer. And you see that the shape of the flower comes right out. When I put this leaf, you can see that part of the flower coming out. Try to get rid of the outlines of everything. That's what I aim to do. And just have the shapes defined by the color that you're using.
Go.
Okay, I've done this green leaf and I've put some orangey red over it, which is the complement color. And I'm going to use a piece of Scotch tape. I'm going to put it over it and draw lines with the ballpoint pen. So you can actually see it lifts off the color, and you'll see some lines here, which are the veins on the leaf. It's really very useful to use Scotch tape. You can also use it if you want to make an area lighter. You can put it on, dab it on, and pick it up. Or you can use an eraser, but it's a little bit difficult to erase colored pencils. I like to use a brush to brush everything away so that it's clean, because botanicals are usually done on a plain white background, so you want to concentrate on the flowers and the leaves. Okay, I wanted to show you, this is a real live specimen, a rose that I picked from my garden, and it just happened to be blooming today. So I just started sketching, and I'm using a different kind of colored pencil. It's in this box here. They're called watercolor colored pencils, and I think they're really useful because you can do something very quickly and cover the area with the pencil and then use water on top of it. So I'm just doing this very fast. It's just a quick study. I'm looking for where my darks and my lights are. This part is darker, so you can see I'm going to do that. Okay, just so you get an idea. And we'll do the stem. Some leaves and the stem. So you can see I'm standing up doing this, and I'm looking right down at this. So it makes it a little bit easier. I'm doing it a little bit larger, but basically the same size. There we go. And it doesn't have to look exactly like it. No one's going to check your specimen. They're just going to look at your drawing. Okay, so I'm going to use a little bit of dark green here for this leaf. And a little circular motion to get it even. Okay, and then I'm going to be using a brush and it kind of makes it just like a watercolor. So this is just another technique. If you have these things at home, that would be great to experiment with. If not, just use whatever color pencils you have, and there it is. I wanted to show you a little notebook that I keep, a sketchbook that I keep drawing in, since it's going to be the summertime soon. This is a drawing that I did of wildflowers outside my house. And here's another one, the same thing, just collection of wildflowers with the colored pencils. So have fun with discovering and exploring this summer. Here are some specimens. This is a hibiscus leaf, and you can just start with a leaf. It's got a beautiful pattern, lights and darks, and the parallel lines. It's wonderful to draw. And then you can collect things and bring them inside, or you can take photographs. So this is the finished drawing that I had started before. And you can see I even added some more flowers. I had fun with it. If you like this virtual art workshop, please visit artsw.org.